Iate Steve Pelletier Yenishe, Maide Skijin initially, Belagana Basashin, Kimachini Dashache, Belagana Nationale. Welcome back to Res Ball. We're back with another NBA draft prospect for 2025. This time I'm going to talk to you about UAB's Yaxel Lendeborg. You can say Yaxel. Yaxel. It really depends on where you're from. Yaxel is Dominicano. He's Dominican. He was born in Puerto Rico. So I try and pronounce it as close to I can. Yaxel is what I've heard from other Spanish speakers, though, Dominicanos, Dominicanas. So that's what I'm going to try and go with here. Let's jump right into it. As I stated last time, we're going to give you a little bit of background on the young man. We're going to dive into stats, look at a shot chart, give you some video recommendations. And with Yaxel in particular, there's one game that I am going to pump up more than I would for probably most people. So Yaxel Lendeborg, born in Puerto Rico, but he's Dominicano. Has an interesting story, to say the least. As a high school student, he went to New Jersey. I forget the team there, but he had really bad academics as a freshman. Big kid, made the team right away, varsity, but midway through his freshman season, he had terrible academics and was cut from the team because he had such bad grades. He was not able to play basketball pretty much his entire high school career until his senior year, where he was able to get his grades up and play the final 11 games of his senior year. And so if you're wondering why, and I know there are a lot of people that really like Yaxel out there, they're wondering why in the world didn't he get recruited more or whatever? Or why did he go the JUCO route? That's why. And he credits his mom. So shout out Yaxel's mom. Both his parents played professionally in the Dominican Republic. So, I mean, if you want to know why he's so instinctual with a lot of things, that's probably why. But kudos to his mom helping us get his grades up and turn things around, because then he went to Arizona Western University. Shout out to my peoples out here in Arizona Western University. It's located more in the southeastern part of the state. So if you've never heard of Arizona Western University, that is why. I can tell you the exact location of this university. It's in Yuma. So again, it's kind of, if I don't think it's out in the middle of nowhere, but a lot of people do. It's maybe like an hour from like Mexicali, if you want to get an idea of where that is in the southwestern. Excuse me, I must have said southeast or southwestern state. Why would I say southeastern for Western Arizona? Come on, Steve. So yeah, out there in Yuma, that's where Yaxel was for 3 years in junior college. How did he do out there, you ask? Well, Yaxel was a two-time NJCAA All-American, so National Junior College Association Athletics, two-time All-American in junior college. He shot 72.7% from the entire field in his third and final season here at Arizona Western. Let me repeat myself. Yaxel Lendeborg at Arizona Western University shot 72.7% from the entire field, everywhere. 3-point range, inside two, everywhere. 72.7% from the entire field in his third and final season at Arizona Western. Gee, I wonder why he transferred after that and then ends up here at UAB. And when he left, I had to double check this because at first I didn't believe it, but then I saw a news story in a couple of other places that reported it. Yaxel Lendeborg left junior college, the NJCAA, as the all-time leading rebounder in NJCAA history. In the National Junior College Athletic Association history, you will see Yaxel Lendeborg is the all-time leading rebounder with 429 rebounds. So, again, a fantastic junior career down there in Yuma, and then ends up here at UAB, which let's take a look at his stats. Yaxel as a junior, first year UAB, 13.8 points per game, 10.6 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 0.7 steals, 2.1 blocks per game, 2 turnovers. Shooting splits in that first season, junior season with UAB, 53.7% from 2-point range, 33.3% from 3-point range, and then 80% from the free throw line on 5.6 attempts per game. My goodness. I'm not going to lie to you. I was not the biggest Yaxel Lendeborg fan last season. I thought, like, yeah, it's just somebody that they give a lot of usage to, whatever. Like, yeah, I don't know if he'll play center or whatever. He should go back. And so I didn't really take his film seriously last year. I know a lot of the no ceiling guys are really in on Yaxel. And sorry, guys, I did not buy into him, but I'm glad that he went back because he made the right decision this season. Last year, senior year at UAB, 17.7 points per game, 11.4 rebounds per game, 4.2 assists per game, 1.7 steals, 1.8 blocks per game, 2.2 turnovers. The shooting splits for Yasiel 55.2% from 2 point range, 35.7% from 3 point range, and then 75.7% from the free throw line. If you're not watching this on YouTube, let me tell you some things that went up. The rebounding went up from 10 to 11. The assists went up from 2 to 4. The steals went up from 0.7 to 1.7. And the 3 point percentage went up from 33.3% to 35.7%. The attempts also went up from 3 point range. As a junior at UAB, Yasiel took 36 threes, and then as a senior, it almost doubled. He just needed to take two more 73 point attempts in his final season at UAB for 35.7%. I mean, it was hard to improve on last year's numbers, but oh my goodness, did they ever improve? Great job, Yasiel. This is how you progress. True shooting percentage last year was 60.5%. This year went down, quote unquote, to 59.2%. So that's pretty much within range. Anytime you're 1% within range every year, and guess what? His usage went up. His usage went up more than his true shooting percentage went down. Usage as a junior was 21.9%. Usage as a senior, 23.2%. So his usage went up 2%. How did it affect his true shooting percentage? It went down like 1.3%. Oh, wow. Huge. He's really wasting a ton of shots now. Get out of here. Fantastic efficiency. And again, this is the number one guy for a UAB team that's competing for a conference championship. Made it to the AAC champion game. Unfortunately, they lost to a great Memphis team. But again, you cannot say enough good about Yasiel's efficiency. Rebounding percentage went down a little bit, but I mean, both seasons he's over 11% offensive rebounder, over 24% defensive rebounder in total, both seasons over 18%. I mean, he left junior college as the all-time leading rebounder in the junior college history. So about his rebounding skills. If you're questioning his rebounding skills, get out of here. I don't know what to tell you. Assist percentage went from 13.4% to 22.8%. 22, anything over 22, you're approaching like, yes, lead guy, give him the ball. And then the best part of the playmaking, the turnover rate went down. As a junior, 14.9%, and then as a senior, 12.7%. So assist to turnover rate from the percentages was 22.9% or 22.8, excuse me, 22.8% assist percentage to 12.7% turnover rate on 23.9% usage. Absolutely exactly what you want to see in terms of a developing playmaker. Let's look at the overall numbers, though. As a senior, 157 assists to 80 turnovers. Just missed the 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio by 3 assists. Again, fantastic. That's the main thing that I saw in film and why I didn't really pay too much attention last season, to be perfectly honest. Is like, he can kind of pass, but I don't really see like playmaking. And then, he can kind of shoot, but 36, shots all year. He barely took one a game last year. So it was just like, whatever. Where this year you double, almost just barely missed doubling the free throw attempts. And this year you double the assists for sure. 72 assists last year, 157 this year. And then you just miss out on 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. There's nothing else to say. It's just like, man, this guy really did know how to develop himself as the primary guy and specifically as a passer. Other thing to look at, free throw attempt rate last year was 63.7%. This year went down significantly to 44.3% free throw attempt rate. That's really, really good. And I think both seasons it was over 5 free throw attempts per game. Yeah, so as a junior, it's 5.6 free throw attempts per game, and then as a senior, 5.5. So just looking at the raw attempts, there's no real difference there to notice. And in the total attempts, it actually went up. Probably because UAB played 2 more games than they did last year. But still, it's nice to see. 195 free throw attempts for Yaxel Lendeborg last year, 202 free throw attempts this year. I mean, are you starting to see my deal and why you can tell I'm so excited about Yaxel? He's a primary scorer. You got better as a shooter. You got markedly improved as a playmaker. You see he's a fantastic rebounder no matter where he's been. And then the block and the steal numbers were really good. I mean, the block numbers were good both years, over two last season. They went quote unquote down this year to 1.8, but then the steals went up to 1.7. So he's over 3 stocks per game. I don't like to use the stocks thing per se, but in this case it does because it shows that he had an overall impact. He's not just looking at the rim. And I mean, he tripled his steal total from last year, 24 steals, 64 steals this year. Pretty close to tripling anyway. Bad math here. And then the blocks, 66 blocks, 64 steals, 66 blocks. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of defensive playmaking. And that definitely absolutely shows up on film. Is he a center though? I don't think so. 6'8.5" is what Yaxel Lendeborg measured at the combine. His weight was 234.6 pounds, and then Yaxel had a 7'4" wingspan. So I'm going to say I don't think he's a center. I'll get into why here in a little bit. But I mean, there are probably still people out there who are like, yeah, I would roll with him at small ball center because 7'4" wingspan. And on the film, what pops is like a lot of the athletic plays, especially driving in and doing things like that. And with his ability to rebound over 11 per game, both seasons, all-time junior college rebounder, yeah, you can definitely buy into him at center there. But I definitely think 6'8.5". So he's definitely run 6'9" in shoes, 234.6, 7'4" wingspan. I think that poses more of a mismatch at power forward, as well as what we're going to look at here with his shot chart. So again, we're just starting with the simple zones. Yaxel here is in the middle. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see. If not, again, we looked at Carter Bryant last time. Here on the left, mainly 3-point shooter. And then we got Eric Dixon to the right of Yaxel Lendeborg, who, yeah, again, so many 3-pointers here. Whereas Yaxel was 23 of 63 from above the break. So anything that wasn't a corner three, 23 of 63, 36.5% from 3-point range. And then 2 of 6 from the corners, really didn't take anything from the corners. 27 of 84 in the mid range. Stop taking those shots, Yaxel. That's one of the areas we'll talk about here with if you give him the ball in the NBA, I think that's a bad idea to let him run in that area for sure. And then in the paint is really where I think he has the most to work on is 28 of 74, because no matter the role he's given, whether he's a small ball 4 or a small ball 5, excuse me, or just a power forward, like in the paint shooting 37.8% ain't going to cut it. You got to get better. You got to have some more touch. You got to have some kind of turnaround, some kind of floater or whatever to knock down and be more efficient. I mean, he's already very efficient, but he could take another step forward in efficiency if he gets any better in the paint there. And then at the rim, 223 shots. That's a lot of shots. And he converted 154 of them. That's 69.1%. Fantastic. Anytime you take over 200 shots at the rim and you're hovering anywhere around 70%, great. That's the main thing I think with Yaxel is he's an attacker. He is going to get to the rim, and he's going to get to the rim in a variety of ways. He can do it off the dribble. He can do it as pick and roll finisher. He's kind of a lob threat. I don't think he can always consistently get up and get there. And then in transition. So his number one wiring in his brain is like attack the rack and have everybody get out of the way. Again, we saw the free throw attempt rate over 44% both seasons. I think the difference when looking at the film and looking at the stat breakdown between his junior year at UAB and his last year, senior year at UAB, he's the man, and they're giving him pretty much usage. I mean, he's bringing the ball up the court a lot of times as a senior, whereas he had more point guards and other guys to take things off of him as a junior. If you look back at that junior UAB team, they had some of our favorite players that we talked about last offseason in Eric Gaines, right? And they had JV Davis was there as well, who was kind of playing Yaxel, same spot. Efren Johnson also was there, but definitely in terms of Eric Gaines took a lot of the playmaking and the ball handling duties, no matter what. I mean, 5.5 assists. So that was his main thing there. So I would definitely look at the junior tape again a lot more, which I have been doing, even though I didn't last year. It made me think like, wow, he got real good as the man, but that's not going to be his role in the NBA. Nobody's going to draft him, even if he gets drafted in the first round, to be like, hey, let's give him the ball and let him run the show, or even be like the guy running the second unit. The number one thing he's going to be as a supplementary guy to how he was a supplementary guy to Eric Gaines, where his efficiency was really good and he finished a lot of things. So I think that rim number 69.1% can actually be higher on lower volume, and when he doesn't have to attack so much. Yaxel Lendeborg, that is, when he doesn't have to attack so much off the dribble, easy place to improve. But the shot, I think that's really going to be the determining factor in what Yasiel has to work on like immediately, because you see it getting better. You see he's able to shoot over 75%, I believe it was, right? Both years from the free throw line. Yeah, 75% both years. So you see there's solid foundation to his shot. And you saw the increase, almost doubling the increase in attempts and increasing the percentage. But again, 33%, 35.7, it's not screaming that, it's a set thing yet. It's going to take a while. And you look at the 3 points attempt rate, which I hadn't given yet because it is something I wanted to hold off on. Both years, it's under 12%. As a junior at UAB, 11.8% 3-point attempt rate. And then as a senior, it's under 16% both seasons. Apparently, I can't read today either. 15.4% 3-point attempt rate for Yaxel Lendeborg as a senior. I mean, his shot will just open up so much more for him and will help him to become more role malleable. Because without that shot, then you really are looking at him as like small ball center to set good screens. Hopefully, he can work on his hands and be a little bit more of a pick and roll guy. Figure out ways to be more of a consistent lob threat, which I think he can be if given that role. And then if you have the 3-point shot and stuff, like, man, you really are cooking with gas here. And it doesn't limit you to one position, because without that shot, like, sure, he can still play power forward, but are you really going to play like two guys that can't shoot? I think of my Pistons all the time when thinking about drafting guys, and especially guys I'm excited about drafting. Like Yasiel can't play with the centers on this team then, because then you're really going to limit the spacing. And you already have guys like, yeah, Asar and Ron Holland, where it's like, so you can't play those guys, because then you have three guys that really can't shoot with Asar or Ron, and Yasiel, and then either Duran or Stu. Like, that's a no-go there. And thinking of somewhere like Cleveland, like if Cleveland could draft him, same thing there. Like, play him at power forward. Oh boy, like, Evan Mobley took a teeny step forward. There's a shooter which helped them get better with Jarrett Allen, but you played Jarrett Allen and Yasiel, who's not shooting, like, forget it. Again, it really severely limits the spacing, that kind of stuff. So I do think Yasiel's got to get better. And again, break down the shot. He only took 6 attempts in total from the corners. That's the number one area. Like, if I were in his team, like, okay, we got to work on being a corner 3-point shooter, because that's going to open up a lot of things for being a stretch four. Guys, look at guys like Dorian Finney-Smith. Look at guys like Torian Prince. Look at guys like Royce O'Neal. Like, that's kind of they made their living there doing that thing as a stretch four and staying in the corner and being the supplementary guy to the superstars. So definitely work on that area. And then from above the break, 8 of 20 at the top of the key, 7 of 15 from the left wing. That's good. Good things to work with. But the shot he took the most from three on that right wing, 8 of 28, not good. And even looking at Carter Bryant, who didn't get full minutes, I mean, he probably played like half the minutes that Yasiel played last year. Yasiel played a total of 1,244 minutes. And there are areas that from three where Yasiel didn't even take as many attempts as Carter Bryant did from three. So again, it's still a very low volume when you look at the overall thing. But in the mid-range, Yasiel was 16 of 39 here from the right elbow. But that's really the only area where you're like, okay, that's obviously a positive. And if you turn on the tape, if you see him pull up from that right elbow, it's more than likely going in. Everywhere else, forget it. But this is the flip side of the 3-point shot. The shot he took the most in the mid-range was from that right elbow, and that's his highest percentage by far. Everywhere else, the baseline shots for both were 25% or under. He took 21 from the right baseline. He took 12 shots from the left baseline. And then from the left elbow, he only took 12 shots. So those are a low volume. So the one silver lining mid-range is that the shot he took the most He shot the highest percentage on 41%. But again, if you look at the simple zones and just look at overall from the mid range, he was 32.1%. That's where you got to pull those shots away and start working on three, because in the NBA, the only way you get these mid range shots is if you're the man. I mean, we're seeing Julius Randle do well in the playoffs now. You have to get to that level. And even then, how long has Julius Randle been in the league? And how many people have complained and moaned about him taking too many weird shots in the mid range? He should be doing that. He should be shooting more than three. And now it's finally working, and people are like, okay, maybe they can get to the finals with this. And even then, there's still people that are like, ugh, Randall sucks, whatever. So I think Yasiel has to definitely stop doing so many of those mid-range shots and start working on being more of the shooter and do that. When he gets run off the line, though, that's the good part about the mid-range. The difference between somebody like Carter Bryant and Yasiel is Yasiel, I have no problem with him, getting run off the line. If he gets run off the line, yeah, he can get to that elbow jumper. Yeah, cool. He can do things in the mid range, even if it's not exactly the most efficient, but I trust him to do it because I've seen him do it time and time again. He already knows he has a spot in the mid range that he wants to get to. So that's cool there. And then again, I just can't reiterate this enough. The paint is where he absolutely has to get better. Yes, he has to have some kind of turnaround, some kind of floater, some kind of hook or something. 37.8% in the paint is not going to cut it. Whether he's power forward, whether he's a center, he has to be able to convert those shots more, because then he's going to consistently be in like the 60% true shooting percentage range. And then he's going to be absolute money there. For me, when I look at the comp of Yasiel, like I kind of fell in between two guys at first, because I did see a little bit of Naz Reid with the athleticism, with like being kind of in between power forward and center. The shot wasn't quite there yet, even though he did take them. But I think Naz Reid came into the NBA more ready as a shooter, and Naz was more about like conditioning and focus, which is why he went undrafted. So I was like, I don't think that's necessarily who he is, even though I could see him turn into something like that. But I think it's more Obi Toppin with a defensive focus. I mean, I don't want to bury Obi too much, but if you know anything about Obi and follow him his whole career, not exactly known as a defender, but same type of profile. Came in as an older prospect, Yasiel. And I didn't bring this up because it's not a big deal to me, but I believe Yasiel is going to be 23 when the season starts. This is the only time I'm gonna. Well, I guess I'm not gonna say it's the only time to say, but I'll reiterate it a couple times. For me, age, it doesn't matter. It doesn't focus. I don't focus on that in the analysis. It is what it is. It's something they cannot change. It's like criticizing a guy for being too small or whatever. It's like those are their measurements. Look at the film, see what they are. Does this work in the NBA? Can it work for a long time? And the answer with Yasiel is yes. So if you're out on guys that are 22 or older, then sorry you had to listen this long, but it's not a big deal to me. But Obi, same thing. He was an older guy, came into the league. It looked like he could maybe shoot, but he was more reliant upon his athleticism, and he was more looked at as a play finisher. And what do you know? Took a while. He bounced around from New York and then came into Indiana, who knew how to utilize him correctly, focus on him as a play finisher, and has been super integral for their run the last 2 years, making it to 2 Eastern Conference finals. And he can still attack off the dribble. He did a lot of like back to the basket stuff, which is a big thing that people knocked him on at Dayton. It's like, I don't know how this is going to translate to the NBA. But the big difference between the two is like Obi is still stiff. I mean, like stiff, not great lateral agility. Whereas Yasiel, not so much the case. When he sets his feet, when he slides, like he is really good and he's not going to get cooked by anybody. He doesn't always do that especially when he doesn't slide his feet, like he can get run by with guards and guys that are super quick. But when he's in his stance and sets his feet, really good. So think Obi Toppin, like that with the athleticism, burgeoning shooter, play finisher, but like he actually has defensive instincts and focus, unlike an Obi Toppin. And if you're like, that's not really Obi Toppin, then, and by all means, somebody else come up with a better comp. But I still do think Yasiel ends up being used in that same way. Maybe not necessarily a starter, but an impact player, a fantastic piece in your rotation who's like hovering around 6-man minutes, ends up working out as a shooter and is super efficient to where you just can't play him off the floor. And he's even better on defense. The one game I wanted to highlight, I brought this up last time. or I brought this up at the beginning, I should say, East Carolina in the AAC tournament. If there's ever such a thing as pitching a perfect game in basketball, this is it. March 14th, 2025. Yaxel Lendeborg in the AAC tournament against Eastern Carolina. 30 points. I mean, yeah, it's 30 points, so obviously that's a big thing. 20 rebounds, 20 rebounds, 2-0, 20 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, 4 blocks. And you know how many times he turned over the ball? If you're not watching on YouTube, you can't see it. It's 0. Again, if you haven't looked at this East Carolina game in the AAC tournament, please, March 14th, 2025, UAB versus East Carolina, first round of the AAC tournament. Go look it up. Yaxel Lendeborg, 30 points, 20 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, 4 blocks, 0 turnovers. 56.3% from the entire field, 8 of 13 from 2, 1 of 3 from 3-point range, and then 84.6% from the free throw line, which he got to 13 times. So he was 11 of 13. Again, if there's ever such a thing as pitching a perfect game in basketball, this is it. Go check it out. The peak of Yaxel Lendeborg's film, so much fun to watch and see, and especially the passing. This is one of the film that really turned the tables for me on Yaxel is pinpoint passes. It's one thing to see a guy like know how to pass into the system or like get better at live read and react, but he's passing guys open. He's hitting them right on the money where they need to be. I mean, he looks like a point guard in this game. It's tremendous. And I didn't say it before in this episode. I know I said it in the last one, but I have Yaxel at 12. I mean, I might be talked in the top 10 with him, definitely not top 5, but like 6 to 10, I could probably be talked into, but 12. And again, back half of the lottery, 11 to 14. I think he's somebody to consider because of all the development, the passing, the athleticism. Look at how great he is on defense. He's a defensive playmaker. He's a pass making playmaker. He's a play finisher. He's 6'8.5", 234 pounds, 7'4" wingspan. I mean, what more do you want in a player? Sure, you can buy into him at small ball 5 if you want to, and he has a great skill set to develop into something like an Obi Toppin at the very minimum, in my opinion. Film to look at and things to go look at on YouTube, please. Number one is the Charlotte Hornets account posted a interview with Yaxel Lendeborg. There are a couple different places that posted this interview, but the audio and visual quality from the Hornets is the best. So definitely go check that out. My guy is over at NoStealingsNBA.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go check out the Substack. Subscribe there always. They have great season highlight on Yaxel Lendeborg up. They posted about a month ago. Cash Iggy, my other account that I'm always going to recommend throughout this draft process, the Indian draft process. It's Cash Iggy. That's CASHIGGY. I mean, he does the best draft videos, bar none, on YouTube. There's nobody talking. It's just the game film, but it's broken down to where you're just focused on the player. He's going to give you the scoring breakdown first of like, this is what happened every possession this player had the ball, whether they scored or not, whether they missed the shot or not. Then he's going to go into the passing and the turnovers of, okay, here are the possessions where they either passed and got an assist or they turned the ball over or whatever. And then he's going to break down here are the defensive possessions. And the defensive possessions help out too, because he'll normally put a circle on the guy before the play starts so you can get an idea of where they are and you're not lost on it. Again, Cash Iggy, fantastic, the best draft video breakdown because he doesn't get in the way too. He just lets the film speak for itself and breaks it down in the best way possible with the offense, the playmaking and turnovers, and the defense. So shout out Cash Iggy. He has a bunch of good Yaxel Lendeborg videos. And then last but not least, as I brought up last time, Hardwood Hoop Central's NBA Draft Green Room has a very, very long, maybe the longest draft video of anybody here, 4 hours, 4 minutes, 58 seconds. So if you love Yaxel Lendeborg and can't get enough, definitely check out Hardwood Hoop Central's NBA Draft Green Room's video on Yaxel Lendeborg. 4 hours, 4 minutes, 58 seconds. Buckle in. I mean, I love Yaxel too. He's probably my favorite player just in terms of watching and always getting entertained because he always did 3 or 4 things every game that I was like, they give you hype, whether it was a dunk or a block or a big time shot. Yeah, if you just want to be entertained for sure, check out Yaxel Lendeborg. If you're looking for somebody to draft outside the lottery starting at 11, again, I have him at 12, but I think Yaxel is one of those complete role player packages. You got the size, you got the progression, you see his abilities as a playmaker and passing. scoring and on defense. What's not to love about Yaxel Lendeborg? Yeah, thank you so much for listening to us. We will catch you next time and be back with Eric Dixon next time. I'm going to